Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of ET Infra. Today, we will be in a conversation with Mr. Tanuj Mittal, who is a director at Dassault Systems. Now, Dassault Systems is renowned globally for its virtual twin digital products that it offers to a range of sectors such as aviation, aerospace, and also in the metals and mining sector. With Mr. Mittal, today we'll explore that how the company's digital twin or virtual twin product is transforming the metals and mining sector's entire value chain. So, Mr. Mittal, really appreciate joining us out here at ET Infra, this virtual connect that we have made today. So, my very basic first question would be around the digital twin that Dassault Systems in India is providing to the mining sector. If you can give us a brief, what are the services and what is the products that you are offering to the Indian market?
So for us, it is more like a virtual twin than a digital twin. And before that, first of all, thank you very much for having us here today. It's a pleasure to discuss this topic. India is fastly catching up in mining sector on this topic, although globally we have much more advancements. But when we talk about virtual twin for mining industry, mining and metal industry as a whole, it essentially means that all the physical assets and systems and processes and facilities which we usually see in our day-to-day life in this industry, that is intelligent replica of that is created virtually in the system. Now, that is what is the ultimate goal from a virtual twin. And the expectation is that the virtual twin will behave as good as the physical infrastructure which is in place, so that whatever ideas and experimentation and thought process we have related to that industry, that can be simulated and preemptive actions can be taken for the betterment of business and environment.
Right. But I really wanted to understand from you, when you enter the Indian, mining sector, there are a lot of legacy systems, right?
Right. Right.
Legacy systems that you have to sort of overlap on top of them, and then bringing your product synchronizes and sort of what you call extract the data from those legacy systems. These are really old minds and old techniques that we have, worked upon over the years. How do you sort of bring in your systems and then sort of, sync it with the legacy systems? Because without the legacy systems, even bringing a new system may not necessarily, be at 100%.
Absolutely. So the offering from our side, which is 3D Experience platform, is quite open in terms of integrating with legacy and future systems. So usually with all the popular systems, we offer a bidirectional integration. And now when we leverage AI in the process, and for AI, existing data is very important. Not only just the data, the quality of the data which is there, so that AI can be leveraged to use this data to drive inferences for future. So existing systems which are currently capturing and throwing this data to us becomes very important. And of course, platform has to take into account all this data which is available in the industry today. And how do we take this data and leverage? So platform is designed in such a way that this data, which is already there with an organization, is leveraged for the future.
Also, when you do go into a project, I also want to understand, because mining is a risky endeavor at the end of the day. If you are done in the traditional way, you go and mine and then you see all the values, whether it's the products, the minerals, it's a much more cumbersome process. With a digital twin and the products that you're offering to the Indian market, I just want to understand that how you go about the first phase in itself when you go and talk to your client and tell them whether to mine or not to mine in that particular location or a sector or an area.
So if you see the mining process, it starts with the exploration,
Right.
where you use various techniques to understand what is the quality and size of mineral available underground. Now, all these techniques historically, they have been again database only. So whatever physical activity you do, that translate into some data points about that area. There were means and methods to leverage this data point to decide what is the available mineral for us to extract. But then, like I said earlier, AI can be leveraged even further to precisely determine how much of the mineral is available, what is the quality of the mineral, and then later in the process, what is the best way to extract that mineral. Traditionally, if you see, in the absence of AI, a particular source of data can be used in isolation. But in when you deploy AI, then data from various sources can be combined into one single project and then create an inference, which means it will be much more robust and precise in terms of results it is showing to us.
I also wanted to understand my belief or my understanding is that with the incorporation of such technologies, the exploration cost for the operator sort of really comes down. If you have the AI and digital products as yours, is there a quantifiable way to sort of ascertain how much of cost savings it can have in terms of exploration?
It will be difficult to put a percentage, but depending upon the current level of an organization, it can range between 15-20% to 60-70% of saving. Not only just the saving in cost, it also helps you from environmental perspective, from the safety angle as well, because all these processes involves man machine for us to deploy, and safety as well as the environmental impact of these activities is very important. So if you consider that as well, then the overall saving what we are looking at is very huge.
True. You did mention about the incorporation of AI and definitely much more advanced version of AI as we go into the future. I do wanted to understand that the products that you're offering, how much is the incorporation of other technologies? Today, we use drone extensively. Even LiDAR technology is also used in many factors in terms of mapping and all. So, is there a scope for incorporating those other technology products to your systems as well?
Yes, the system requires data, and data needs to be created by different processes. Drone mapping is one of them. So when you use that technology, it will help you generate the right data for us to use in the system. Similarly, there are other technologies available. For example, for exploration, you will do a borehole data collection where you actually do a bore in the ground, take out the mineral rich samples, and then analyze the data on top of it. So all other sources which helps you create meaningful data are very welcome and very important to integrate with the platform.
Mr. Mittal wanted to know, you're out here in India. If you could, briefly sort of tell us in terms of your India engagement, how much play Dassault systems have been in terms of the Indian mining market?
So we are pretty old, I would say, in terms of our presence in the market. And today, I can safely say that almost 90% of mining organizations will be using some or the other products from our side. So
Okay.
we are a dominant player when it comes to mining in India, and we have contributed a lot in the growth of the nation when it comes to mining.
Right. So then I would just like to take you on an expert perspective. The mining sector in India, how is it in a sense sort of different from the others, be it at Indonesia or Australia, who tend to have a very robust mining sector in terms of the technology adoption? Are we at par with what the others, are incorporating? As I mentioned, Australia and Indonesia have a very active mining sector, or the technology incorporation still lags a little bit, and we need to, pick up our pace on that.
Of course, we have a catch up to do. You will see historically, mining sector was dominant by public sector enterprises, and technology adoption was very slow. It is only in recent years when we have opened this sector to private organization, you see a lot of technology-led initiatives to be deployed in mining. With this recent catch up, I would say that we are gradually coming near to what the global standards are when we come to digitalization of mining industry. But despite that, we still have a lot of catch up to do.
Other query that I had, obviously, whenever you do go into a particular area or a segment within the mining project, there is a life cycle attached with it. If you could really, help us understand, is there a time frame by which this life cycle sort of gets set up? Because once you go into the new project, how much of a time do you take your systems to sort of mature and then get closely integrated with the project itself? What is the time frame and what is the sort of cost benefit analysis that could give?
Usually, the system which we offer is mostly out of the box. The system per se may not take much time, but any mining project runs into many, many years. So, when we partner with an organization, the process starts, for example, from exploration to mine design to mine planning to actual production and then logistics and shipping.
True.
So, this entire process, not everybody uses all the technologies in all the processes. So, depending upon their business need, they deploy technology in each of this segment. Sometimes exploration is done by a different company, but actual mining is done by a different company. So, these parameters are there. But once you decide about the digitalization, usually, a system for production monitoring and enhancement spans from 6 7 months to 18 20 months.
Right. You did touch upon the aspect, I think this would be towards the end of the segment, in terms of the transport and the logistics. Now, that I do understand much more depends on factors which is out of your control in terms of the transport and the logistics, because that depends on how the state government or respective governments set up the transport or the logistics network. But help me really understand in terms of your products offering, coming to the distribution part where the transport and logistics come in, how do you streamline that process? Because that would much more depend in terms of what is the infrastructure you actually have around the project site.
So, transportation within the mine and transportation of the final product to
Right.
the end user, both these aspects require careful planning, and there is huge scope of optimization. So we do offer tools and technologies which helps organization to first build a model as to what existing situation is there on the ground. Like you mentioned, we may have limitations related to the infra available, the railroads, the trucks, and other transport equipments. These are modeled what is available right now,
Right.
and then the system helps you decide how to optimally use these resources for better productivity. It also helps you determine that if you add any delta element in terms of more trucks and some more railroads, etc., what can be the potential impact on productivity and cost. So the system helps you simulate all this so that the managers and the leaders they can take the right decision.
Right. Your assessment, I think in the last, 10, 12 years, we have seen a lot of focus on improving the transport network, be it the routes and the railways. Your own, view, has that sort of a build-up of the infrastructure sector in the country in the last 1 decade and a little bit more, has that helped you to streamline your operations?
In the last 10 years, there has been, of course, great development in terms of infra, which we have
Right.
created, primarily from a point of picking up, for example, coal from the mines to the end user. So, coal will usually go to power plants.
True.
And this happens through railroads mostly.
True.
So this infra is very important because otherwise there will be a pile up at the mine end while the thermal plants are still waiting for the coal to come up.
True.
Yes, there has been a progress, but that progress is still not to a level where we can say that real time delivery of coal is happening to power plants. So we have some work to do.
True. I actually came in from the perspective of the forward and the backward linkages. Now, because if they are improving around your project site where you are involved, then I'm quite sure your systems also is a much more better position to sort of in terms of predict or analyze and pick the best transport node model that would be suitable.
We do. Yeah, that's what I said earlier, that the system helps you simulate all modes of
True.
transportation all together in one single model. So
True.
you can decide what goes by rail, what goes by road, what can be the best combination for the minerals to be transported to the end customer.
And also reason one of the reasons I asked that question, because there is this Gati Shakti portal which is
Right.
the government have sort of initiated. And I understand that this is a digital portal which sort of when you have a project sort of gives the access to the data, which would be much conducive in terms of if you're picking up a project, whether the road links, the railway links are there. And I think once even for systems like yours, it would be easier for the product to simulate if you have the actually the hardcore infrastructure coming up.
Right. That's very true. The portal offers a lot of data points for anyone to create a simulation model. and then decide the best way to move forward. So it's a great help.
True. One of my last questions. When you have such a robust system like yours, the ones that Dassault is providing, and obviously other competitors in the field, I really wanted to understand, do we need geologists in the mining sector in going forward when you have digital systems bringing in the solutions?
Well, of course, that will stay like this because while we are generating data, we still need people to intervene and interpret data in the right direction. So the system only gives you options and recommendation, but somebody still needs to take a decision, and that is where the geologist comes in.
Right. My last concluding question would be around Dassault Systems itself. Your future plans, especially introducing the product to your to the mining sector. Like you said, you do have a very formidable presence in this mining sector. But what more can we expect in the coming years in the near future?
So we are committed to India industry, especially in mining, and whatever product development we do globally that is available for Indian companies to leverage. While the coverage is almost 90% of the companies we work with, but the depth to which these virtual technologies are utilized is still a long way to go. Not the entire operation currently is being done virtually. Like I said initially in the discussion, in bits and pieces, somebody uses it for exploration, somebody uses only for product optimization, fleet management, etc. But end to end, virtual twin is still a dream. And this is where we are working with at least the larger organization to drive this agenda.
So thank you, Mr. Mittal. Really appreciate you're taking your time and then having this conversation with us at ET Infra.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to talk to you.